You're standing in the middle of the chaos, the storm of uncertainty tearing through your plans, ripping apart everything you thought was solid. The structures you built, crumbling. The future you envisioned, dissolving. The identity you wore like armor, cracking under the weight of everything falling apart. And someone dares to tell you, just think positive. You want to laugh. You want to scream. Because that sounds like a joke, like an insult wrapped in a smile, like someone handing you a flower when what you need is a sword. And deep down, a voice in you whispers, that's not enough. It feels fake, shallow, hollow. Because it is. But what if I told you that wasn't the real thing? What if I told you the version they gave you was a lie? A feel-good bandage for a battlefield wound. A bumper sticker slapped over deep, bleeding scars. They sold you the shallow version, the soft version, the kind that tells you to stay calm while your world burns, but never teaches you how to walk through the fire without flinching. They told you to smile when you should have been sharpening your mind, told you to be grateful when you should have been building strategy, told you to breathe when you should have been biting down and breaking limits. See, they gave you positivity built for comfort, not for survival, built for sunshine, not for the storm. But here's the truth no one talks about. Real positive psychology isn't fragile. It's not naive. It's not a blindfold or a lullaby. It's brutal. It's bloody. It's forged in fire. It doesn't ask you to deny the darkness. It demands you use it, wield it, channel it like a weapon. Because the real version, the weaponized version, was never about pretending things are fine. It was about standing in the middle of the wreckage and choosing power. Anyway. Choosing presence. Anyway. Choosing to believe not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Let's stop sugarcoating it. Let's stop painting over the cracks. Let's stop pretending optimism is weakness. Let's set the fake version on fire. And let's talk about the real thing. The dark, disciplined, unshakable form of positivity. The kind made not for comfort, but for conquest. Not to protect you from the storm, but to make you the one who walks through it, unchanged, unbroken, and utterly unstoppable. The storm is already here. Now the question is, what will you become inside of it? Let's begin. Step 1. Shattering the illusion of control. You were raised on a lie. Maybe not in words, but in patterns. In school schedules, in 10-year plans, in perfectly marketed blueprints for life. You were trained to believe that if you did everything right, then life would obey. Study hard. Get the degree. Get the job. Get the house. Meet the person. Have the kids. Save for retirement. And one day, maybe, if you played your cards safe and small enough, you could finally rest. But here's the part they never told you. Life doesn't care about your checklist. It doesn't care how well you mapped it. It doesn't care how bad you want certainty. Because the storm always comes. And when it does, it doesn't knock. It tears. That job you sacrificed years for? Gone in a merger. That person you trusted with your soul? Gone without a goodbye. That health you took for granted? Gone overnight. And now you're standing in the wreckage. Numb. Exposed. And wondering, what the hell just happened? But what happened isn't the real tragedy. The tragedy is that you thought it wouldn't. That you believed the myth of control so deeply. That when it shattered, so did you. That illusion of safety was never real. It was a leash made of silk. And the more you relied on it, the weaker you became without even realizing it. But now the veil is gone. Now the fiction has burned away. Now you see the raw truth. There's no such thing as permanent ground. The world will move beneath your feet. Circumstances will shift. Markets will crash. People will betray you. And the winds of life will change direction with no warning and no mercy. And that's not unfair. That's reality. Here's the question. Will you keep clinging to the illusion like a drowning man holding a stone? Or will you let go and learn to swim in the storm? Because the ones who rise in chaos aren't the ones with perfect plans. They're the ones who stop needing the plan to feel strong. They build from the inside out, not from titles or trophies, but from the unshakable identity forged in suffering. They've stared into the abyss and didn't blink. They didn't beg the storm to pass. They became something worthy of surviving it. See, you don't need life to become easier. You need to become untouchable. You don't need the future to cooperate. You need to master your presence in the unknown. And that starts by murdering the fantasy of control. Because when you stop demanding certainty, you start reclaiming power. Real power. Not the fragile kind based on outcomes, but the kind rooted in identity, in grit, in brutal self-trust. You begin to realize that even if the plan dies, you won't. Even if everything collapses around you, your will remains. You are no longer dependent on calm seas. You become the storm. So ask yourself, when everything slips from your grip, what remains? When the job disappears, when the money vanishes, when the routine breaks, who are you when there's nothing left to hold on to? Because that is where your true self lives. Not in the facade, not in the comfort, but in the raw, cracked open silence of uncertainty. And in that silence, a decision is made. You either let the storm rewrite you, or you write yourself into something the storm can't touch. It begins here, not with a to-do list, not with a prayer for clarity, but with a war cry in the dark. I don't need control to be powerful. I only need to remember who the hell I am. Step 2, reclaiming the weapon. What positivity really is. Let's get something straight. Positivity is not weakness. It is not naive. It is not blind. They've tried to strip it of its strength. They've dressed it up in pastel quotes and surface-level affirmations. They've turned it into a sedative, something to make people feel better, not get better. But that version, that hollow, watered-down positivity, burn it. Because what you need now isn't a soft whisper. You need a blade. And real positivity, the kind built for war, is a weapon. It's not about pretending everything's okay. It's not about faking a smile while your world crumbles. It's not about ignoring pain or bypassing reality. No, it's about making a decision. A decision to create power where none seems to exist. To speak strength when your circumstances scream collapse. To choose direction in a world that offers you nothing but confusion. This is not about delusion. This is about domination. Let me ask you, what does it take to believe when there's no evidence? What does it take to stand up over and over when life keeps knocking you down? That's not weakness. That's warrior logic. That's a mind trained not to flinch. A soul forged not to flee. See, toxic positivity tells you to ignore your pain. Authentic positivity demands that you confront it and transcend it. Because when life gets hard, and it will, you have two choices. You can spiral in fear, or you can anchor in faith. Not the blind kind, not the religious cliche, but the kind that says, No matter how dark it gets, I will not break. That's real positivity. It's not a pretty mask. It's a scarred face with fire in the eyes. It's not a soft word. It's a silent vow you make when no one's watching. Because true positivity isn't about how you feel. It's about how you respond. You don't choose it once. You train it. You install it into your mind like a steel framework that doesn't shake when the world moves. You say, I see what's happening. I feel the pressure. I taste the fear. And still, I choose to move. Still, I choose to believe. Still, I choose to build. Because real positivity doesn't run from the storm. It studies it, learns from it, rises through it. And here's the brutal truth most won't accept. You become what you repeat. If you keep repeating defeat, you become it. If you keep repeating fear, you embody it. But if you start repeating strength, even when you feel weak, that strength begins to harden, to settle into your bones, to carve itself into your decisions. You train your nervous system to stop flinching. You train your subconscious to expect triumph. You build a baseline where power is default, not exception. And over time, you become the kind of person who walks through collapse with calm, who sees smoke and fire and keeps walking. Not because they're heartless, not because they're emotionless, but because they've trained their mind to submit to one law: forward, always. So let them keep their soft affirmations. Let them keep their fragile hope. You've got something stronger now. A decision forged in the dark. A mindset that bleeds truth. And a fire that no storm can drown. This is real positivity. Not a mood, but a mission. And if you can carry that into your darkest hours, you won't just survive uncertainty. You'll conquer it. Step 3. The science of self-talk. Programming the warrior within. Let's get one thing clear. Your mind listens to everything you say, not just out loud, but especially in silence. Every whisper, every complaint, every thought soaked in doubt is a command. And your brain? It doesn't argue. It doesn't negotiate. It just executes. You say, I can't do this. It obeys. You say, I always mess things up. It finds the proof. You say, this is just who I am. It writes it into your identity, like scripture. You are not just thinking thoughts. You are installing programs. Most people never realize this. They treat their inner dialogue like harmless noise. They joke about their insecurities. They casually tear themselves down, and then wonder why their life feels like sabotage. But what if I told you this wasn't just philosophy? This is science. Your brain is neuroplastic, which means it rebuilds itself based on the input you give it. Every thought creates a groove. Every repeated statement lays another brick. Until one day, your thoughts don't just reflect your life, they create it. So when you feed your mind fear, it starts to seek out danger. When you feed it helplessness, it starts to paralyze your will. But when you feed it power, even when it feels like a lie at first, you build new roads, new neural pathways, new options, new outcomes. This is not fantasy. This is biology. It's how soldiers are trained, how survivors rebuild, how warriors condition their minds for war. You want to rewire your destiny? Start with your mouth. Speak what you want to become, even when your circumstances don't reflect it, especially then. Say, I've been through hell, and I'm still standing. Say, I am dangerous when I'm focused. Say, I am the calm in the storm. Say, this pain will not outlive me. Say, I am becoming something no one sees coming. You don't say these things to sound strong. You say them to become strong. You don't wait until you feel worthy to declare them. You declare them until you feel worthy. Because here's the brutal truth. No one is coming to rewrite your inner script but you. No savior, no mentor, no motivation video. It's you, alone, in your own head, wrestling your own demons, and deciding which ones get to speak. So shut them up. Starve the voice that says you're not enough. Replace it with precision, with intention, with power-soaked affirmations carved from the future you're walking into, not the past you're running from. Because self-talk isn't just how you motivate yourself. It's how you forge yourself. It's your internal orders. And when the world gets loud, your inner voice better be louder. Because that's what determines whether you collapse or command, whether you react or respond, whether you shrink or rise. So from this moment forward, you don't just talk to yourself. You train yourself. You shape your mind like steel. You program your thoughts like code. You speak your future like law. And every time you do, you become more than just someone surviving the chaos. You become the architect of your own ascent. Step 4. The rituals that hold you. Let's drop the illusion once and for all. You will not rise when it matters, unless you train for it when it didn't. It doesn't matter how motivated you feel right now. It doesn't matter how many promises you make in the dark. When pressure hits, when the storm rips the sky apart, you don't fall back on hope. You fall back on habit. You fall back on what you've rehearsed, what you've trained, what you've drilled into your nervous system until it became who you are. Because chaos doesn't test your ambition, it tests your rituals. Let me ask you this. When everything around you collapses, what behaviors do you default to? Do you reach for your phone or for your vision? Do you escape into distraction or engage in discipline? Do you spiral in thoughts or anchor in action? Because every single day, whether you're conscious of it or not, you are building systems. Some build resilience, some build rot. But make no mistake, you're building something. And those systems, those micro routines, they are your armor or your cage. See, the world sold you the lie that success is some sudden breakthrough, some massive leap, some once-in-a-lifetime spark of glory. But the warrior's no different. They know success is built in the silence, in the dark, in the repetition no one claps for. It's the cold morning workouts when no one is watching. It's the daily journaling when your mind is scattered. It's the quiet meditation when your anxiety screams. It's the water you drink, the books you read, the sleep you protect, the thoughts you reject, the environment you choose. That's the real training. And here's the brutal edge of it. Your rituals will either rescue you or ruin you. There is no neutral. You can't coast in life. Because habits don't ask for permission. They automate. They take over. So if you don't build them with intention, they'll build themselves from fear, weakness, and old pain. They'll build themselves from your trauma, from your past, from your laziness, from the path of least resistance. But if you design your habits like a warrior crafts a sword, with attention, with pressure, with precision, then you become unstoppable, unshakable, untouchable. Let the world keep chasing hacks. You master your structure. You build a fortress of repetition. You discipline your waking hours until even your low days become productive. You create sacred rituals that cannot be touched by mood, weather, or opinion. Because when the storm comes, and it will come, you won't need to search for your strength. You'll be standing on it. So build your morning with purpose. Build your environment to protect your focus. Build your movement to sharpen your instincts. Build your diet to fuel your fire. Build your mind with words that aim, not wander. This isn't about perfection. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply in discipline that nothing drags you back to the old version of you. Because that version, that impulsive, reactionary, addicted to chaos version, it dies when you master ritual. And something new is born, a machine of intention, a force of nature, a human being who doesn't need permission, clarity, or comfort. Just the next rep, the next move, the next inch forward. You want to become elite? Stop waiting for the big moments. Start perfecting the small ones. Because in the end, the rituals you repeat when life is easy will decide who you are when life gets hard. Step 5. Power through meaning. Let's make something brutally clear. You will not survive the storm on motivation alone. Not on adrenaline. Not on hope. Not on fleeting energy or bursts of inspiration. Because those things fade. And when they do, you'll be left with the truth. Just you. The pressure. And the one question that will determine whether you rise or disappear. Why am I still standing? In uncertainty. In chaos. In pain. What keeps you here? Because if your answer is shallow, you will fold. If your purpose is convenience, you will break. If your why is borrowed from someone else, you'll abandon it the first time life punches back. You cannot borrow meaning. You must build it. You must dig deep into the marrow of who you are and carve out a reason that's heavier than your excuses. Something that drags you out of bed when nothing makes sense. Something that whispers, get up, when your body screams, stay down. Something that says, I don't care how dark it is, I'm not done. Because meaning is the one force more powerful than fear, more durable than motivation, more enduring than pain. When you're walking through hell, you don't need a reason to smile. You need a reason to fight. And that reason, it won't come from books. It won't come from mentors. It won't come from the world. It comes from within, from the depths of your scars, from the ashes of your former self, from the broken pieces of everything you lost that taught you what truly matters. That's where real meaning is born, not in comfort, but in confrontation with who you are, with what you've run from, with what you must become. So ask yourself, why do you refuse to quit? Who are you becoming that requires this level of fire? What are you building that demands this season of pressure? Because until you connect your struggle to something sacred, you will resent it. You will try to escape it. You will make it the villain instead of the weapon. But once you decide that your pain has purpose, it no longer controls you. You control it. You alchemize it. You forge it into fuel. You stop asking life to be easier. And instead, you become stronger than the chaos it throws at you. That's meaning. It's not sentimental. It's not poetic. It's necessary. Meaning is the only thing that makes suffering endurable. It's the only thing that makes discomfort sacred. It's the only thing that makes your scars worth carrying. Because they weren't pointless. They were part of the path. So stop looking for comfort. Start searching for your mission. Because when you find it, when you grab hold of it with both hands, the fog will clear, the noise will fade, and your steps, no matter how uncertain the road becomes, will carry purpose. And a warrior with purpose can walk through any fire and come out crowned in flame. So now you see it. The world didn't betray you. The storm wasn't a curse. Uncertainty didn't come to break you. It came to reveal you. It came to rip off the masks, to burn down your illusions, to drag you into the mirror and ask, who are you when nothing feels safe? And if you've been paying attention, you now have the answer. Not from wishful thinking, but from war-forged understanding. You started by shattering the illusion of control, realizing that everything you clung to was never guaranteed. And in that collapse, you uncovered the only thing that was guaranteed: your response. Then you turned to reclaiming positivity as a weapon. Not the soft kind that covers wounds, but the steel-forged kind that lets you create light inside the dark. You stopped hoping. You started commanding. You mastered the science of self-talk. And you saw that your words aren't decoration. They're instructions to your subconscious. And your subconscious? It's always listening. You learn to speak strength into your system like a general giving orders before battle. You built rituals that hold you when chaos tries to shake you. You understood that success isn't random. It's not found in the big moments. It's engineered in the small ones. The invisible hours of discipline, repetition, and self-respect. And finally, you reach the root. Power through meaning. The reason beneath the grind. The purpose beneath the pain. The truth that your struggle has value because you say it does. Because you tied it to a mission. Because you chose to make it worth something. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not the absence of fear, not the perfect plan, not the approval of others, but the inner shift. The unshakable mindset that says, I was not built for comfort. I was built for fire. I was not designed to be spared. I was designed to evolve. I do not need the world to calm down. I become calm. I do not run from the storm. I become the storm. This is the rise of the new mind, the reprogramming of the old patterns, the death of the victim, the rebirth of the warrior. So stand tall in your uncertainty, not because it's over, but because you're ready. Let others crumble when life gets heavy. You optimize it, you forge through it, you dominate it, because everything you need to survive was always inside you. Now it's time to use it. Returning GrimFace warriors, stand proud. You've walked this fire before. Keep sharpening, keep rising. New to this path? Subscribe and stay. We're not here to survive life. We're here to master it. This is GrimFace Motivation, where warriors are forged in darkness. And the storm was never your enemy. It was your invitation to rise.